Hi quilters, I'm Pam Heller, AccuQuilt's cutting expert. We're here today to show you how to make our Go Maple Leaf table runner using our Go Maple Leaf block on board. The lovely Erica is joining me today in the studio because she actually made this project and she has some great tips and tricks for you. Now quilters, this is a great bob die that makes an 8-inch finished maple leaf block. It's a die that's great for quilters of all skill levels, so don't be afraid to jump in, even if you're a beginner. This bob die is on a 6x24 die board, which means that we can use it in any of our Go cutters, including our Go Me and as well as the Studio 2 cutter with the appropriate adapter. All right, Erica, let's jump right into the fun and see what you learned about making this project.
All right, so we are going to go ahead and put together one of our maple leaf blocks today, but we're also going to talk about putting together those joining strips and the little cornerstones and get a little strip die magic going, okay?
I'm loving that. Okay, quilters, you want to make sure you pop over to AccuQuilt.com to download the pattern and follow along.
So when I made my runner, I actually did my cutting by color, following the pattern directions.
Okay.
But for now, we're just going to cut one block because that's what we're going to sew together. So Pam's got the fabric prepped over here. So for each block, we're going to need one of shape A in the background.
Okay.
And then 3 of your leaf colors in that for that same shape.
Perfect. So quilters, you'll notice on this die that we have screen printed those letters for you. So now I'm going to put my fabric over shape A.
Okay, now for shape B, we're going to need 4 half square triangles each of your leaf fabric and your background fabric.
Okay.
So this is a great time saving tip that I actually learned from Pam, is that she's put the background and the leaf fabric together, right sides together, when she put them on the die board. That way when we pull them off, it's going to be ready to go straight to the sewing machine and piece it together. So.
Right. That's one of our great tips is if you're going to sew them together, can you cut them together?
That's right. So shape C is actually a small half square triangle. It's going to be your background fabric, and I only need 2 for the block. So just one piece, and then the stem, and we only need 1 of those for the block. So you can go ahead and get that there. And we're all ready. We're going to use a 6x24 mat on this so that we can take it through, and we're going to be ready to go.
Now, Erica, would there be a faster way or a more time-saving way to cut our little stem?
You know, if you were cutting your whole project, you could actually stack up your fabrics, cut, and then shift them down. Kind of that stack and shift method.
Perfect.
And that would be a great tip for saving some fabric.
I'm all about saving fabric. Now, quilters, this runner would be a great weekend project, and you are going to love making it. If you have any questions on cutting, be sure to check out some of the basic cutting videos at AccuQuilt.com. All right, so let me show you. We're going to run this through the cutter.
Perfect.
All right, here we go.
You're going to find that this block goes together really easily. We're going to go ahead and give it some love.
Get rid of that static, and we're going to slide that mat. Don't lift. Oh, look at this. Ta-da.
Perfect. So we're ready to get this going. We're going to pull off that extra fabric. And let's start with those half square triangles.
Perfect. All right, here we go. So I'm going to move this down here and get your half square triangles.
Okay.
And see, look, quilters, we put right sides together. We've cut off the dog ears, so now we can stitch it perfectly.
And I'm going to go ahead and get one of these sewn together, but we actually had some sewn together already, which may or may not have been because I didn't count very well when I cut and sewed when I made the sample.
Sometimes that happens.
It does.
Now, quilters, Erica's going to sew for us today, but don't forget, you want to have a perfect 1/4 inch seam. You don't want to have a scant 1/4 inch seam. This is such a great project for chain piecing. You could actually cut the entire project, then chain piece all of your half square triangles.
Absolutely. Now we put these together. We've got some that are already made. And we've got those right there.
Perfect.
The next thing that we'd want to chain piece would be those stem pieces. So for those, we'll take that stem piece, thank you, Miss Pam.
You bet.
And those 2 half square triangles.
Now, how did you press your seams?
These I went ahead and pressed to the dark side. Pam and I both like to press to the dark side whenever we possibly can. But this isn't a real small block, and it's going to make things go really easily for you.
Perfect.
So with this now, I'm going to go ahead and line these up. We're going to put one of these half square triangles on either side of this maple leaf stem.
Okay.
And then I'm going to sew this.
Now, if you were a little nervous, could you pin it?
You absolutely could pin, and you know I'm a great pinner. I think that's because I come from garment sewing, where you pin, but I do tend to do a lot of that. Okay. So I'm going to clip this. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and sew on the other side. This is so slick.
Now, Erica, I feel like this pattern would work really, really well with like scraps. So you could make all the different leaves different colors.
This would be a great scrap buster. If you are like me, my grandson absolutely loves orange, and so I've got a ton of orange fabric. I could make mine all different orange scrappy. It would be great.
Okay.
I may need to do that. Get lined up here because I'm talking and not paying attention.
But I feel like this is a great system where you sew and I press.
It is a great system. So I'll be needing you this weekend at home.
I'll be over.
So on this, again, you could press this to the dark side or you could press those open. Those are pretty narrow seams, so you might want to press these open.
Okay, I can do that. I have my little iron right here.
I love our little fall leaves to go with our fall leaves here today.
Pretty? You know, fall, Halloween, my favorite holiday.
Your favorite holiday.
I know, but I feel like you should make maple leaves like fall colors, not Halloween colors.
All right, so now we're ready to lay out our pieces, and we're going to start with that solid piece. It's a good way of starting up here in the corner. Then we're going to build off those half square triangles. So my biggest challenge when putting this together was making sure I had all my half square triangles facing the same way. We've got a solid, I think you've got a couple solid blocks to go there. Okay, and then this one, we're going to go the other way. And I kind of found that it looked like a little bow tie here in the corner. And then our stem down in the corner.
So Erica, I feel like this is a really good block to like make a test block. Make sure you know how to cut all the pieces, sew them together, and how to lay them out.
Actually, that's my test block right there.
Oh, good job.
So there you go. So I'm a pinner. I would probably sew my 3 rows together and then pin them together just to make sure at those corners that they're all going to go together just right. So we can put the first row together. And here I think I'd probably press those seams open just to cut down on the bulk.
Right. And I agree. I feel like sometimes if you get so many of those pieces in there, pressing your seams open will help get rid of that bulk.
It really will. And again, this is such a great chain piecing project.
I really like it. I was a little worried about this, but look how
I know you were, and I promised you it was going to work, didn't I?
She did. She did.
Perfect. Okay. So.
All right.
And again, here I think these I'd press open.
Sure.
And as long as you're doing that, I may as well sew.
You might as well sew while I'm ironing.
Okay. This is such a great way. Everybody needs somebody to do their pressing when they're sewing.
I know. I feel like we should make these in red for Canada.
Ooh, that's a really good idea.
I know. I love Canada. I love the United States. I love Rome.
She likes to travel, this one.
I do. Okay, so I'm making sure that when I lay it back, I'm laying it the right direction.
The right direction. And again, you're going to build off of that solid up in the corner. That's going to be your kind of your touchstone. So that's how you'd get those blocks together.
Perfect.
We'd go ahead, we could go ahead if we wanted to, press these open, sew these together. And again, this is where I would put those pins just to make sure that we matched up perfectly. Do that last row, then we've got our block together.
Oh, great.
So let's look at how we put this together, we're going to need some strips and some squares.
Okay.
So for this, we pulled out our 1.5-inch strip die and a 10 by 24 mat. Now we need 8 strips, and I had 1 prepped for you here.
Okay.
And we're going to cut 4 and 4, and you can go ahead and get those cut. And we're going to take these and we're going to cut them down so that they're 1.5 by 8.5. But I saved some scraps from when I cut before because we're going to need some little squares, and I think Pam is going to be able to show you a great tip for that.
Oh, I have such a great tip. So Erica, I could have actually put both of those
You absolutely could.
fabrics on here, right?
You could have if I had cut it for you and had it ready.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So strip dies are so versatile, all right? So now we're going to give it a little love, slide, don't lift, take our mat off. And now we've cut these perfect with the fabric, right?
Right.
So now what do we do with these?
You're going to cut those down to 8.5-inch lengths.
Okay.
And we're going to have some scraps left over.
Okay.
So we also need some 1.5 by 1.5-inch squares.
Okay, so this is the best trick ever.
So I'm going to give you the scraps.
Okay, so with strip dies, not only can you cut strips, but you can cut squares. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these strips that Erica cut for me, and I'm going to line it up right here on the die board where it says 90 degrees, right here. Now remember, I can do 6 layers, but I'm just going to show you how to do this. And you can actually go down the die board at 90 degrees and cut even more.
You could get a whole lot of squares in a
You
hurry this
could.
way.
You could. All right, shall we cut these and show them what the
Yeah,
squares
let's
look
do.
like? Perfect.
I think this is one reason why our strip dies are so popular.
They are.
I feel like we need background music while you crank.
I know. Okay. All right. We're going to give that mat a little bit of love. Slide, don't lift. And now look, quilters, ta-da. Perfect 1.5-inch squares. Just think of how hard those would be to cut with a rotary cutter.
It would be so tedious.
Yes.
So we're going to take a look at the runner behind us and show you how we put those blocks together now that we've got our 1.5 by 8.5-inch strips.
Okay.
So the first thing we do would be to take 2 leaves and sew one of your 1.5 by 8.5-inch strips together.
Okay.
Go ahead on the next side, do the same thing.
Okay.
And then you're going to put those together with another 1.5 by 8.5. But here in the middle, I just made a little scrappy square. So you can cut some of your scraps from cutting your leaves into some little squares to really give it some flavor as you go.
Oh, it's great.
So now that once you've got those 3 units together, the next thing would be to put the strips on the side. So here you can't really see it very well, but we've actually got a strip and one of those little squares that you just cut for us.
Okay.
And another strip. We're going to put those on either side of those 3 units. Okay? The last thing we're going to do for putting these all together is to make some more strip and square units, but we're going to put some little colored cornerstones on either side, again, just to kind of pull in that scrappy flavor.
Sure.
Okay? So once we've got those, we'll want them on the top, between the squares, and at the bottom.
Perfect. Now, when you're pressing these center sashing, how are you pressing them?
I press those towards the center of the strip just to cut down on the bulk, and then when you put the ones on the outside, go ahead and press towards the outside.
Oh, perfect. Now, how big of a block does this make?
Well, we've got 8 and 8, and then in between this is going to finish, it was 1.5, it's going to finish at 1. So actually, that is going to give us a different size block than what we normally have because it's going to be 17. But it's going to work out really well with this, and I love the look.
Oh, I think it's fabulous.
So the last thing that we would need to do would go ahead and put a little narrow scrappy border on it around the edges.
Okay.
And again, we're going to press towards the outside on that.
Erica, what a great project. Hey, quilters, all that's left now is to layer batting between the top and the backing, pin or baste, then quilt. Last but not least, don't forget to add a binding. Your Go Maple Leaf Table Runner is finished.